it could be said that fighting the system is fighting one's self. It is fighting yourself. It could be said that fighting the system is... I was considering it last night, the system, the procedures that are laid down by law to enable all in the UK to live a dignified life. And guess what? The system itself has never oppressed me, ever. There are those that say there are laws there within it that they could utilise if they chose to do such a thing. I do not doubt that is actually correct, because I have my concerns about men sitting in groups creating rules and regulations, because I don't understand why we need anything other than a basic set of principles to guide us once we realise ourselves that we are responsible for all that we say, think and do, and therefore need to be responsible for all that we say, think and do, considering all life existence, and therefore creating that world where all life can live with dignity equally ourselves, rather than believing ourselves to be beholden to men grouped in groups participating in what is called the system, though the system itself, the one in the UK that is, has never itself actually oppressed me. What has oppressed me are those that abuse the system, those that provide the services that the system itself provides by law for each and every citizen of the United Kingdom. The abuse of procedures, meaning not adhering to the procedures that allows us all to access the services that the system provides, even to level the imaginary playing field that the imaginary money they accept and allow creates. The system, you can't fight the system, because you are the system. Well, you can fight the system actually. It's called self-abuse. The system, the system, the system, the system, it never oppress me, never oppress me. But then man and his woman in that implement the procedure incorrectly to serve their own imagined power trip. That's what them oppress me with. Do you know that? I do. Is that ego? Still trying to understand ego and will and self and mind. That mind, just don't give it any. I've tried talking to it. I tried accepting it myself even, you know, and if there's deception in it, then surely it's my own deception, and to a degree that's probably, possibly true. Though then there's a unified field, and then there's interconnectivity anyway, so once I correct my own deception, then I believe there is less deception. I just believe there's less deceit inherently within the unified field at this moment than there was at the time I started to realise, on account of Destiny's assistance, that the unified field existed as the unconscious mind, they might call it perhaps, meaning I don't fully understand, having not read the damn material myself. The system. I'm thinking about it last night because I'm getting a new flat this morning, hopefully, as long as I have to wait and see. Actually, the man tried to get in touch with me yesterday, unless he was just trying to confirm the appointment, which he might have been doing. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm grateful that I've got a flat. It's a great flat actually, even. But I'm not specifically grateful to any body, any bureaucrat even, any individual. If I'm grateful to anything, I'm grateful to society for having organised itself in such a way that it has provided accommodation for those who can't afford, for whatever reason, to buy their own or rent off a profiteering individual, being that the accommodation I am accessing, renting from today, is provided by a housing association who, when they originally created them, were the recipients of government public money from a quango called the Housing Corporation, to remove the onus from the local authorities themselves, who at that point were the providers of public housing, they call it. There must have been something going on there, because that's why I get abused a lot by the system, is by the public servants. Local authority workers are called public servants. National government workers are called civil servants. Interesting. Government workers. Yeah, I've had, again, interesting though. They fuck with the procedures, but once you go along and input the correct data into the organic robot, that is, I could tell you very interesting stories. I won't, because it's past tense, and I don't want any tension on account of past events to exist in the future, and therefore will not concern myself with them now, not even in a storytelling mode. That's not to say that I'm then going to start telling stories that are untrue to enable a storytelling mode to exist. Maybe deleting the storytelling mode will be best for the program. I am an organic robot. I am reprogramming myself effectively to enable myself to participate in the creation of a world where all life can live with dignity equally, all life considered. The system is ourselves, let's say, quietly, peacefully, sort of reassuringly to the youngsters. The youngsters don't need reassuring, folks. They know more than you do, because they are you. It's very interesting. I could explain that as well, though. Would it really work? Would it really be beneficial? In our aim to trouble ourselves, concern ourselves with what one knows more than one another, and aren't we all one anyway, really? And that is the reason why, ultimately, that I made that statement. The system never oppressed me, not even if it could. Those that implement the system's rules and regulation and try to oppress me with them rules and regulations, even when they're not able to, really. For instance, law enforcement officers, they call them policemen. There's a bit of weirdness going on there. If a law enforcement officer is called a policeman, that needs questioning in matters. Though, what does a policeman do? He enforces the law. Not only that, though, they seem to be charged with crime prevention. Now that's a mistake. That needs altering. A law enforcement officer should enforce the law, and that should be his, and probably is, his sole duty, in effect. They do go and talk to kids and public relations, I think they call it, though they're not very good at it. Well, they actually might be good at public relations when they interact with the public, not very good at it. The experience I had the other day sort of made me realise, yeah, okay, don't you understand? And it's not just the police, it's everyone, what we're doing to ourselves. In that, what he was doing to me, he wasn't doing anything to me because I wouldn't let him. Because I was sat on a wall and I had no interest in him. If there'd been any real need to assist him, I would have assisted him. I'm not against the police as such. Though, to decide I'm his prey for that moment, and he will impose his imagined authority upon me, because if it's a law enforcement officer who's enforcing the law, if I'm not breaking the law, there's nothing to enforce on me. There is a thing where they can suspect you are participating or have participated in a crime, and therefore need a little investigating, though I was giving him no reason to believe that other than his own imagination, which wasn't in play. He was looking for some suicidal something or other. I have no idea what. It wasn't me. I told him it wasn't me. He decided he was going to stand there because I wouldn't talk to him. I said, because I was having to talk to him to tell him I wouldn't talk to him, and he kept talking to me, so I had to keep talking to him, telling him I wouldn't talk to him. I said, yeah, you're as free to stand there as I am to sit here. Now, would you mind stop talking to me, because I have nothing to say to you. A few minutes later, I got up and walked off, at which point he said something else, and said something else. I just looked at him, sort of mysterious like. I got from them sales assistants in the food distribution centre. And he could see, he expected me to react, because at that point, his programme malfunctioned. What's going on? He said, his programme it's not reacted and I can't react back. I just smiled at his pal, Simon, and thought, thanks, now I know more than I did before. Whether it's any use or not to me, let's hope it's being useful to whoever's watching this, because time's up. The system never oppressed me. Those implementing procedures of the system I've tried many times. They haven't managed it really, because the system doesn't oppress. Is it needed? Unlikely.